to Kush News, the newscast of the African diaspora. I'm your anchor, Ochanda, daily bringing you the top stories from Africa and the Caribbean. Let's take a look at today's news on Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. We go to Kenya, where protesters occupied the international airport. On Tuesday, protesters engaged security agencies in running battles as the Kenya Defense Forces and police officers barricaded all roads leading to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Motorists and passengers underwent mandatory screening along various routes leading to the airport. Multi-security agencies, which also included plain-clothes police officers using unmarked vehicles, intensified surveillance along the Taj Mall Interchange, Outer Road, Eastern Bypass, and Old Airport Road. In another Tuesday of anti-government protests, one person was killed in Kakamega, and protests continued in different parts of the country. In Maraba area of Kakamega County, Tuesday afternoon turned into a battlefield. After hours of cat and mouse games, police opened fire when one officer reportedly fell from a moving vehicle and lost his gun. One person was shot dead as others scattered for their lives. The injured officer was rushed to the hospital, and the missing gun was later recovered. In neighboring Kisumu County, 3 people were nursing gunshot wounds after police opened fire on protesters who had barricaded the Kisumu-Kericho highway. Most of businesses along highways were paralyzed, with the business community lamenting the losses incurred during and have been since the protests have began. Business owners subsequently called for a ceasefire between the government and protesters to salvage the crippling economy. In Mombasa County, one person has been injured as police dispersed a group of protesters that was attempting to gain access to the central business district. Police lobbed tear gas at the group that had been marching to the coastal town chanting anti-government protests. Similarly, businesses were also paralyzed in Homa Bay and Migori as protesters and police engaged in day-long battles. The protests were sparked by the anti-finance bill that Ruto, under pressure from the citizens, refused to sign. Now protesters are protesting against the reappointment of some of the members of cabinet, some that were fired initially but then brought back. Those in Kenya, let us know your thoughts on the ongoing protests. Are you for it? Are you against it? Where do you stand? Let's go to Uganda, where police and protesters also clash. Ugandan security forces detained dozens of young people on Tuesday as they took part in a banned protest rally in downtown Kampala against government corruption and alleged human rights abuses. The protesters waved placards and shouted slogans denouncing corruption. One wore a t-shirt bearing the words, "Speaker must resign." At least 45 people were detained by security personnel during the crackdown. A police spokesperson was not immediately available to confirm how many people have been detained. At least 5 of those detainees were charged and remained in custody, and they have been and will until July 30th. They're accused of being a common nuisance and also being idle and disorderly. Authorities have banned the protests, citing intelligence that they show criminally minded youths might hijack in order to loot and vandalize. Soldiers and police were deployed around the parliament building in the center of the Ugandan capital with the aim of deterring any protesters. All roads leading to the parliament were blocked off, with only lawmakers and other parliament staff having access. On Monday, police sealed off the offices of Uganda's biggest opposition party, accusing it of mobilizing for the protests. The party has denied organizing the march, but said that it supports it. Opposition leaders and rights activists say embezzlement and misuse of government funds are widespread in the country. They have long accused President Museveni of failing to prosecute corrupt senior officials who are politically loyal or related to him. President Museveni has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing or condoning corruption and says that wherever there is sufficient evidence, culprits, including lawmakers, are prosecuted.
For a very long time, we have been talking about corruption here at Parliament, corruption in many institutions of government, and government has been paying lip service. They only talk and say we are going to crack the whip, we are going to take action and so on. And not much ever gets to happen. The young people have risen up and said, you know what, enough is enough. We cannot just keep hearing talk, and not much gets to happen. And so they're rising up peacefully. It is their right. In fact, for us at Parliament, we are waiting for them. Because you see, the other day, there are some protesters that came according to Professor against Honorable Sekikubo, and they were welcomed and ushered in, which is okay. They had their placards and so on. So even we here, we have been saying, let those young people come and raise their concerns here peacefully. Okay, so we are waiting for them. We are hoping they will be ushered in properly. We have been seeing, of course, some have been clobbered downtown and so on. These are peaceful young people who are saying they're raising their voices peacefully. That should be allowable. And by the way, if you don't want to listen to them peacefully, if you don't want to press young people against the wall so much and then discover when it's too late. In Kenya, William Ruto woke up when it was too late, when they were already angry and agitated and so on. You don't have to wait for that. Listen to them. They're not coming to fight. They're coming to share their grievances, which is a welcome thing.
Those in Uganda, let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you took part in the protests. If you want to remain as a hidden identity and give us your own personal testimony, we want to hear directly from you. Let's go to the Caribbean. And there we go to Dominica, where they elect their first woman chief. On Monday, Annette Sanford won the Kalinago election, becoming the first woman to be elected a chief for the territory. Last October, Ms. Sanford, a former opposition legislator, had been named as the opposition nominee to replace the outgoing president of that year. Sanford, like the government nominee, Sylvanie Burton, is from the Kalinago territory, where the descendants of the country's indigenous people, the Caribs, still reside. According to the preliminary results, Sanford polled 693 votes, with her closest rival, Natasha Zandra Green, receiving 272 votes. Speaking after she was declared the winner, Sanford, a registered nurse, called for unity among all sectors of the territory. The Kalinago territory is home to the Kalinago, the descendants of the island's original people originally known as the Caribs. The Kalinago are believed to have originally come from South America and represent the last remaining tribe of the pre-Columbian Caribs Indians, dating back to about 3000 BC. Their lives changed with the arrival of Christopher Columbus and the subsequent arrival of the European settlers. Eventually, they had to flee the isolated eastern side of Dominica, taking with them rites, rituals, and a way of life that had reached back the island's original settlers. It wasn't until 1773, when the British gained full control of the island, that the Kalinago were officially given 232 acres of land. Their territory was expanded to 3,700 acres back in 1903. The Carib Act of 1978 outlines the powers of the chief and the duration of his or her term, which is 5 years in the first term. After serving a term, the individual can contest the election for chief as often as they wish. The last election was held back in July of 2019 when Lorenzo Sanford was elected. While men were the main candidates in the elections, a shift began during the last election in 2019 when for the first time a woman contested for the election, and Sanford only lost by 3 votes. Those in Dominica, let us know your thoughts on the first woman chief of the Kalinago territory. Big congratulations from Kush News to you, Annette Sanford. When we come back, we'll have today's African proverb of the day. Don't go anywhere.
Aye, savannah,
Comment ça va? Comment ça va? Comment ça va? Comment ça va?
You can almost on a woman www.mccadero.com, the official website. Damn, MC Cadero, you've done it again.
For me, so like curse. Nothing we can stop this sauce.
Since 1947, the matter never settle. You be what I be get to. Masability lo ya won lenu.
New release of the Spring Summer Collection. Visit www.mckadero.com.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at today's African proverb of the day, and it comes to us from the Caribbean island of Dominica. And it reads, the lizard knows which tree to climb. Once again, the lizard knows which tree to climb. Dominica proverb. You know, this proverb can go so many different ways. I wanted to get in my head. I'm trying to get as out of the norm that I can, but I can't draw one up. But one that I can just drop that is pretty close to its meaning is that it's good to be wise. It's good to know things. In the West, it's often, especially in the inner cities, where children are teased for being too intelligent. Like, man, why you know that? Why you know so much? But it's good. It's good to know a lot. I'd say that it's often that sometimes human beings, just in general, are turned off by somebody who comes off more intelligent than the rest of the crowd. They might feel intimidated. So sometimes people want to hold those things back. But if you have a chance to show it off, show it off. Show it off. Intelligence can be sexy. Let me know your interpretation of today's African proverb of the day, as well as your thoughts, views, questions, comments, and concerns on the top stories. Don't forget to hit that like button. Make it your best friend. For Kush News on Kush Combos TV, I'm Ochanda. We'll see you soon.